Hello. Today we will discuss advanced networking and tips and tricks to be able to prepare for such events and processes. So today what we're going to cover is what networking is, where to begin, how to build your network, engage with opportunities, as well as network event preparation. Finally, we'll discuss how to build and maintain relationships with those that you network with. So what do you think about when you hear the term networking? Is it something negative for you, or is it something more positive? What are your fears around networking or roadblocks? Or are you someone who really gets excited or anticipates the networking event? When you think about networking, networking is defined as a conversation with purpose. It's not random. It has a strategy behind it. Networking is when you meet people with purpose of building contacts and establishing relationships with them. This is a mutually beneficial conversation or exchange of information where both parties benefit. A lot of times people think that networking is one-sided, but in truth, it is mutually beneficial for both parties. Networking is not so much about networking with everyone, but being really strategic and just networking with the right people, those people who can help you with your particular career path. So you have to be strategic and narrow in the way that you network. Did you know that over 80% of jobs and internships are found through networking? We've already discussed this throughout this course, but the number alone really indicates the power and the necessity of networking in this way. And so it's something that I encourage all of you to get comfortable in because of the power of this particular way of getting a job. Let's talk about the networking cycle. Many people target an individual to network with. They may do outreach and then meet, but then they start dropping off, they don't follow up, and they don't maintain that relationship. So when you think about this particular cycle, make sure the cycle continues to go. For instance, you might target someone, you outreach, you connect with them, you meet with them, you follow up with them by sending thank you notes, and then you maintain that relationship, as we will talk about today. Through maintaining that relationship, that may lead to additional targets, new outreaches, and new chances to meet other professionals. And so you can see how this can be an ever-increasing, ongoing process throughout your career. So who to target specifically? Again, you're not trying to network with everyone. You're trying to network with very strategic individuals. So let's talk about 3 different types of contacts. There are hot contacts. These are people that you currently know. Maybe you see them regularly. People that you feel very comfortable asking for a favor. It could be a family member, it could be a peer, a colleague that you see on a regular basis, and you've built a really strong relationship with them. Then you have warm contacts. These are people within a larger network. It could be coworkers that you know, but you don't know them as well, classmates or professors, family friends, that you know of, but again, don't know very well. It could also be referrals from someone that you know, as well as the LinkedIn alumni that we've explored already. And then you have ice cold contacts, and these are those contacts that you may get from random Google searches, and it's a little bit more of a stretch to be able to reach out to them to connect and learn about their career opportunities. So when you think about who to target, really focus on those hot contacts initially, and then the warm contacts, and try to avoid just random Google searches because that rarely leads to something meaningful and beneficial for you. So let's discuss outreach and engagement. So we've already discussed LinkedIn, about how to complete that 100% profile, meaning that you've completed all the sections within your profile and are already starting to build your connections. First, connect to those people that you already know. Make sure that you're building up those connections with faculty and friends and family members, former colleagues, former employers. And then continue to add new business contacts as you meet them and as you get referrals. One really good way to do this is by following companies, even following certain jobs, meeting people through the groups that you're following, and also find those groups of interest to continue adding that particular skill set and interest area to your profile. One of the things a lot of people get intimidated by is reaching out to people, whether verbally or by email. So when you reach out by email specifically, you want to address the following things: who you are and how did you find them specifically? Was this through a referral? Do you happen to already have a connection within their organization? Why are you contacting them specifically, and what would you like for them? And then finally, the conclusion and contact information. You'll notice we have a sample networking pitch email in the career guide, which you can pull from. Now let's discuss networking events, how to prepare and how to do them well. First and foremost, you have to do your research. So for instance, if you don't immediately know which organizations will be attending a networking event, it is absolutely fine to call, obtain the list of people who will be attending, as well as organizations who've registered for an event. Once you have that list, research individual organizations that are of interest to you. Write down their name and title within the organization, and identify any potential connections. And it's always good to be able to do some pre-work if you know their names to see how they're connected to UNC Charlotte. Do they happen to be an alumni? When you first meet an individual, there are a few different approaches that you can take. An elevator pitch is a really important way to be able to get your brand across to someone that you don't know. And there are a few different ones. You have the 10-second introduction, which is very short, and then you have a little bit more of a lengthier 30-second elevator pitch. We've already discussed the networking pitch email. In your brand management plan, you will have a chance to write all three of these and be able to practice. Your 10-second introduction is pretty short. It's going to include your name, what year you are in your program, and maybe why you're interested in the company itself. The 30-second pitch is a little bit longer. It's going to go into not only your name and academic information, but a little bit more about your goals and why are you interested in this particular organization or opportunity, as well as what skills you might be able to offer to this potential employer. So think through these two separate introductions, one a little bit shorter and one a little bit lengthier. In the midst of a conversation, there will be back and forth communication. So there will come a time when the individual asks you if you have any questions for them. I encourage you to always have at least 3 questions that you want to know more about the individual as well as the organization. These are some good questions that I like to ask. How long have you worked for this organization? What do you do specifically in your role? What do you like most about working for this organization? Tell me more about your workplace culture. And finally, what advice would you give someone like me who's interested in pursuing a career in your field? These are all different types of questions that it will be very difficult to find just by Googling. So get their personal feedback. And then remember to know your skills. Be prepared to share that 30-second elevator pitch, as well as anticipate further questions that they may ask that are more specific to your field, as well as your career goals. Another big important aspect of networking is dressing for success. There's a lot of confusion around what to wear and how to wear it. There are 2 different types of professional dress. One is business professional, which you can see on the left, and one is more business casual. And different types of situations call for different dress. One of the things to remember in general is you want to always dress one step above what you think you might be wearing on the job. Think about your career field. Research how professionals dress in a particular environment. Some environments may be a little bit more relaxed, while others may be more traditionally professional. So if you're not exactly sure what the appropriate dress is for a particular interview or an organization, it is okay to call human resources to get that clarification so that you show up looking your best. So networking tips. Especially at events, you want to be prepared for small talk because it demonstrates your social skills. Go in with some general things that you enjoy talking about on a normal basis. Be prepared to always initiate the conversation. Don't assume that people will approach you. You need to feel confident in yourself to approach others. Make sure you have very steady eye contact, not looking down and not being distracted by those around you. Usually be honest and to the point. Try not to ramble or go off on tangents, because a lot of times if people do this, they start monopolizing people's time. So make sure that you're sharing the individuals who you want to talk with others. Throughout the networking event, make sure you're collecting business cards and also taking notes of the conversation on the back so that when you get home you can remember who you talked with and what you talked to them about specifically. Let's talk quickly about extroverts versus introverts because both types of personalities approach a networking event a little bit differently. If you're an extrovert, you want to have a lot of energy going into a networking event. So meet as many people as you can within your desired field of interest. Have a list of people you want to talk to, but also enjoy meeting new people not on your list as you browse the room. Use your extroverted energy to take the conversation beyond small talk, especially if there's not a line waiting to talk to a particular individual. You can go even deeper with them. For introverts, the experience may be a little bit different. For introverts, have a prepared list of people that you want to talk to the event. Now, you can go off this list. You can meet new people, of course, but this will help provide a little bit more structure for you as you enter the event. Have also a list of questions written out. It's a little bit more helpful if you already have some prompts to be able to ask people when you approach them. Try to find commonalities among people that you can immediately connect with. For instance, it could be that they're an alumni of the university, they represent a sports team, or a particular industry you're really interested in. So try to find those commonalities pretty quickly. And then even though you're an introvert, you have to bring your best energy. Remember, you can go home after the networking event and rest. So bring your best energy to the event. So after the networking event concludes, you want to start thinking about the individuals you spoke to and also send them thank you notes. Now, this could be a tangible note through the mail, or it also could easily be an email. I recommend email because it gets to them quicker. I also encourage you to connect to these individuals through LinkedIn to continue building that network. And also, if the conversation was a good one and you want to proceed further, it's always great to set up a time to talk with them. This is optional, but again, it could lead to other referrals and possible opportunities if the opportunity is there. Now let's talk about maintaining relationships. You have to make the time to follow up with new connections, or again, the cycle will not continue. So some of the things that you can do to maintain these relationships are the following. Ask how you can help them. Maybe take them out for coffee, and think about ways that you can be mutually beneficial to them just as they've been beneficial to you. It could be that you're emailing articles of interest or holiday cards, anything that is of interest to this individual. Update the contact on your progress every few months or as things happen, especially if there are opportunities at the organization and they request that you contact them regularly. If you hear about the company in the news, maybe give them a shout out, reach out to them and congratulate them. Check in to see if they will be attending conferences or industry events where you could reconnect. And if you see an opportunity to help them, take it. Always try to pay it forward. If you have any questions specifically about networking, whether it be pre-networking or during a networking event, please reach out to me.